Let's be real for a second. We all have this problem. You're swimming in a sea of information, right? You're constantly creating this digital pile of things you swear you're going to get to later.
You know how it starts. You see a super interesting article, you save it, and you tell yourself, oh yeah, I'll definitely read this on the weekend. And then, of course, you've got those long, deep dive YouTube videos. They go straight into the Watch Later playlist, which, let's be honest, is a bottomless pit. On top of that, you've got all the important stuff. Research papers, PDFs, things you know are valuable, but, who has the time to get through them right now? And don't even get me started on all the shared docs from work or school. Before you know it, your whole digital life is less of an organized library and more of a chaotic mess. So with all this information just pouring in, here's the real question. How much of it actually sticks? How much do you truly remember and actually use? That is the exact problem we're going to unpack today. So how do you even begin to solve a problem that big? Well, sometimes the best solutions come from a moment of pure desperation, a kind of last-ditch effort that just happens to change everything. And that's where Paul Richards comes in. This is a guy who spent a decade in cybersecurity building these complex knowledge graphs, literally connecting the dots for a living. And he was getting so frustrated that the tools for his own personal knowledge they just weren't cutting it. Now, this is where the story gets pretty wild. Paul had built this thing, Recall, as a side project, but after a year, it was basically dead in the water. So as a total last resort, he posted his idea on Hacker News. And get this, just 8 hours later, the first investment check comes through. That one post was the spark that let him quit his job and go all in. And when I say all in, I mean all in. That little spark turned into this, $1.5 million in pre-seed funding. The round was even led by the famous venture capitalist Jason Calacanis. So yeah, this was definitely not a side project anymore. This was a real, funded mission. And this right here gets to the heart of it all. See, Paul's vision was never about building another read-it-later app. No way. He imagined this living, breathing system, a personal knowledge graph that would organize itself and, this is the key part, automatically connect ideas for him. Okay, so that's the big, ambitious vision. But how does Recall actually pull it off? How does it take that mountain of digital chaos and turn it into something genuinely useful and connected? Well, it really boils down to this simple 4-step process. First, it summarizes literally anything you feed it. Then, AI automatically categorizes it all for you, connects it to other things you've saved, and then, and this is huge, it helps you actually review and remember it. And when they say summarize anything, they are not kidding. We're talking about 10-hour YouTube videos, 300-page PDFs, articles, docs, you name it. It's built to do the heavy lifting that none of us want to do. And this brings us to what I think is the most important idea here. The goal of a tool like this isn't just about storing information, it's about making that leap from passively storing content to actively knowing it. This chart just lays it out perfectly. The old way, you have to manually tag everything. You create these little information silos that never talk to each other. It's just passive storage. Recall's approach is totally different. It's automatic, it's connected, and it's all about active learning. Okay, and this all leads to what feels like the magic trick, augmented browsing. Imagine this, you're reading a new article on the web. As you're reading, a little notification just pops up, showing you related notes, videos, and PDFs that you saved months, maybe even years ago. It turns passive browsing into active discovery. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. Wait, what about my privacy? And that's a super important question. That whole augmented browsing feature, all that real-time analysis, it happens right there on your device. It's local first. It's not happening in the cloud. Your data stays yours, private, and secure. But here's the thing that really separates Recall from just another bookmarking tool. It actually uses proven science to help you learn. Things like spaced repetition and active recall. The AI generates little quizzes based on your content, actively training your brain to lock in that information for the long haul. And it all comes back to this one simple but incredibly powerful idea. Being creative, solving problems, coming up with new ideas, it's so often just about connecting existing dots in new ways. And that's exactly what a personal knowledge graph helps you do. So where is all this going? what's the big picture for how we interact with the insane amount of information that's out there? I think this quote from Recall's COO, Sankari Manayar, just nails it. They want to shift the conversation from knowledge management to intelligence management. It's about making how we consume content more intentional, more insightful, and ultimately, a lot more valuable.
So I'll just leave you with this final thought to chew on. What if your browser didn't just show you the internet, but it also showed you your own mind? What if it could remember everything for you, connecting the dots in the background and helping you become a smarter, more creative version of yourself? Well, that's the future Recall is trying to build.